Hey everyone, Self-Worth School is back in session. I'm here with my friend Rhiannon.
Hi.
Hello, who I know we have given a bit of an intro to her in the beginning of this podcast here. But Rhiannon, can you start by sharing a little bit about yourself, your dance theatre company, and as we are talking about the topic today, becoming more creative, how to unlock creativity, tell us a little bit about what creativity means to you.
So I am the artistic director of a company called Rhiannon Faith Dance Company, and we make quite socially aware or conscious dance theatre that tries to tackle issues that we feel need to be spoke about. So that's the leading thing of what I do. I'm a choreographer. I make shows. We tour nationally, internationally. I also do commissions for other companies sometimes. But generally, my day to day is thinking of ideas or shows that perhaps help an audience connect with some of the issues that seem to be prevalent in our society.
Awesome. And the creativity part. So when I say creativity to you, what does that mean to you? What comes up?
Creativity is so wide that I think of lots of different things when I think about creativity, but I guess it's just maybe like having an idea and laying out some time to think about an idea and then think about a way to be curious with that idea. And that curiosity then might lead to something practical happening. So it might be that you are thinking of a little tune and you think, oh, that's interesting. Now I'm going to be curious about why I'm thinking about that. I'm going to go and sit at a piano and have a little play. And then suddenly I've been creative and I have created
Mm,
something that wasn't there before I had that initial idea.
mm.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that people can be creative. And I guess it's a really important part of what the human condition needs as well, a way of taking us out of perhaps complete structure or
Mm.
fact systems and takes us into our imagination.
Love it. Yeah, I love the idea of like around curiosity as well, because it gives you the permission to explore. And like you say, it is taking it out of that structure and actually just being able to listen to your intuition, which is something we're going to talk a bit more in a bit. But if we're so many people say, I've had quite a few clients say to me, quite a few creatives come to me or wanting to create some kind of side hustle, or they're working in a creative business, and I've even thought this myself, like I'm just not a creative person. But there was this thing, what held me back really from starting a business for so long was that I didn't know if I was creative enough to be an entrepreneur. I don't know if I had like originality in me to do that kind of thing or to create things that people would want to learn from or do. And but it's not just in the entrepreneur space. I've seen it in a lot of other spaces as well. Why do you think we often doubt creativity?
It's probably because the systems that we work in, and perhaps like education, don't give
Mm.
enough attention to nurturing that part of us. And I think that there needs to be time carved out to even consider what is creativity in relation to who you are.
Yeah.
And like anything, it's practice then. It's the practice of doing creativity as much as you might check your emails in the morning, like carving out time, having the habit of practicing, nurturing yourself. You said the word permission and giving yourself permission. That's as essential as the other stuff you do in your life that offer you well-being, because
Yeah.
creativity is really important for us. We start our lives as children playing and creativity really is an extension of play. It doesn't have to have any structure, and it relies on imagination. And the connection between playing and imagination is really open when you're younger, because you're in that kind of scenario with an open heart.
Yeah.
There's been any boundary.
And nobody says, oh no, you can't think that stupid, or stop playing on your own, stop like doing imaginary things. But like I say, you're allowed to get lost and like I say, use your imagination and just get lost in that sense. You don't do that as much when you're an adult, do you?
And that's it. And it's probably just to do with time, or how important is that in your life. And if you're told perhaps during your education that, oh, it's important up until this point. Like my little girl Dolly has just gone to school, and now she's in year one. And in reception, she could play. She came home and she said, "Oh, there's not much play. It's work, work, work." And it's like, okay, already the systems that we have that lead our societies, that has an effect, that has an impact
Mm,
on what we feel we should or shouldn't be doing to then contribute to society. Because that's probably the point, we all go to school, education,
yeah.
we can contribute. But what about contributing to ourselves in a way that keeps us in a place that fed us so much when we were younger, and
Mm.
place of creativity and joy and failure. Like, some when you're playing when you're younger, some games aren't very good. Or maybe like your little world that you've created, you don't know how to build on that, or and then you need someone else to come and play with you, and you don't want to play by yourself. There's all of that stuff. And I guess as an adult, it's like maybe it's just a bit difficult to do it in isolation.
Actually, at least quite nicely onto my next question. So, how do you see creativity? Like, how does it show up beyond the arts? Because obviously, that's largely where your creativity is often based. But where does it show up beyond the arts in like life and work and relationships? How do you see like the role of creativity in general?
I think I think it's everywhere. And like there are relationships that we are in, whether that's with your partner or your friends or your family. And I guess because I'm very lucky that I have a family that are generally very creative. So
Yes, they are.
I might go and see mom and dad, and as I'm arriving, dad's playing his guitar and writing songs, or he might be writing a novel, or he's just finished his second book of poetry, and my mum will be maybe playing. She's got one of those big drums that she really likes playing, and she reads. She's an academic, but she reads so much stuff that gives her lots of inspiration. And so I guess I see it a lot in my life. I don't know if that's what you mean about in other areas. Like, the mess in my house is definitely creative.
I think it's like thinking, how do we like, yes, there's creativity when we're creating something and engaging with the arts, but how does creativity show up like in our work? If you think about the average person in their job or maybe in their relationship, like how does creativity play in a part? I guess it probably comes back to like sense of curiosity, what you were talking about before. How can you be creative in a relationship? How can you be creative at work? And maybe it's that sense of being curious about having an idea and moving forward with something.
Yeah. And like trying new stuff. Like, a big part of being creative is going into the unknown and being okay if that doesn't work out. And just trying stuff and letting go of the ego a little bit, and it's a sense of freedom. And
Mm,
in your day-to-day life, you are putting yourself in situations where you say, "Oh, hang on, we do it like that all the time, but maybe let's do it like this and see what happens." I know that you do lots of creative things, like jumping out of place. Like, that to me is quite a
I
creative.
haven't done that one yet. That's the one thing I've not done yet. But
I
yeah.
think that there's choices that we make, perhaps, and I guess there's a form of rigidity that happens sometimes. Maybe trying to do something a little different because it might take you down a different path, and then you
Yeah.
experience something new and learn something new about yourself, that kind of stuff. But I think habit is actually an important part of creativity in some sense. That I know that if I go into a studio, that if I do a certain kind of warm up, and if I probably start my session by reading something, and then I might put some music on, and then I might get up and start moving and improvise. And I guess in I love improvisation, and this is in a kind of a studio sense. I always have. I love the unexpected, and I like to be silly. Like I like to feel a bit of a weirdo and do things that are a bit funny. And it brings me lots of joy. And I think there's something about the freedom that I give myself permission. It's obviously coming from somewhere inside of me.
Yeah.
It must be a part of me that wants to be explored.
Yeah.
Let's go down that path and see where it takes me. And I'll usually capture that. I usually film improvisations and then look back, have a little giggle, but also find some really beautiful bits of treasure within that I'm
Mm.
really like, oh, now that's interesting. So now I'm going to take that little bit and do something with that bit that I found was really cool. Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, there's definitely that sense of freedom, removing the filter, being curious and just allowing it to happen without judgment and then pulling out the things that you're seeing something in. And actually my next question was going to be, can you share your own process for coming up with ideas, like whether it is for like performance or a project or even in just in your everyday life? So is that kind of what you would do, how you would answer that question is when you're having a process, or do you do anything else when you're trying to come up with ideas and exploring your creativity?
You've caught me at a really good time because what I'm doing at the moment is thinking about a new show. So I think I'll tell you some of the things that I might do in my week. So I might make a Pinterest board, and it's kind of like a mood board. So I might look at images that inspire me, set design, lighting design, or mostly photographs. And usually they are connected to a theme. So I've already considered the theme. What do I want to explore around that theme? And then I'll go and just research it. But sometimes I research it really visually, which would
Hmm.
be like Pinterest board. And that's usually one of my favorite things to do. But then I will research it in a academic sense. So I will just read tons of books about that theme, or the ideas that are connected to that theme, or places in history where it's linked to what I'm talking about. And then I will read books that I think maybe look at challenging that theme, or look at just different interpretations or perspectives of the world that I'm entering. So I feel like I have a really rounded and balanced understanding of what I'm trying to speak on.
What about even further back than that? Because that's when we're talking about when you've already maybe decided it, you've already had an idea and you are like exploring the theme. What comes even before that? What sparks those little ideas? What comes up that makes you go, oh, I want to explore that more?
I guess it's a feeling.
Yeah.
So most of my ideas come out of an experience or a feeling or an interaction, or seeing something that or reading something that just sparks a fire in
Hmm.
me. Yes. So something that feels like, ooh, tell me more about that. I need to know about this, and I need to know why that's going on, and how is that relevant to now, and how I live, and how people in my life live and how
Mhm.
we live within society. And yeah, it goes from there. And I leave it for a little while. I let it simmer. And then if it returns to me, like it's going, yeah, no, that's
I have a little idea.
oh, it is a bit.
Actually, again, that leads on really nicely to my next question because I was going to ask about what the role of intuition plays in creativity and like how you know when to trust those little sparks of inspiration, those things like you say where that ideas come up. So is it for you like when you can't start thinking about it?
Yeah, I just can't stop giggling
I
because
know I can see you wanting to
I
laugh.
wa- I watched Love Is Blind, and
Oh, I did as well. That
that
we
guy
used
was
to do
talking
a
about
oh,
his
his spleen. Yes. Don't follow. Do you follow your spleen?
spleen is such a weird word. It's like
He
just
was
doesn't
splenic. It
make
was a
that
splenic projector, wasn't it? It was human design, which if anybody's
splenic.
interested about, you can find out more about in my How Becoming More Connected to Yourself episode. But yes, how do you trust your intuition? Like I say, is it when that idea just keeps nudging you? Is that in your intuition, or
Yes,
what
I'm not
role
going to
do
call
you
it
feel like
spleen. I'm going to call it.
your spleen?
I'm gonna. I call it instinct, perhaps. Yeah, about trusting the universe, trusting what arrives with you, and
Mhm.
when that happens, what that what the timing of that means. And yeah, really listening to that. Like, I definitely am someone who follows my instinct. I always have been. And if something doesn't feel right, then it usually isn't. And of course, I will then question. I will question what what will happen if this is a path that I follow, because usually I follow ideas for a couple of years, and I have to be like, all right with that I want to stay in this world with this research and create something that is going to be with me for a couple of years, and how am I going to walk alongside that? But I think instinct is really important, and confidence in following it is really
Mhm.
key.
And do you think creativity is something that we're born with, or is it something that we can develop and nurture over time? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think definitely we all have the capacity to be creative. I think that there are many situations where creativity is stifled or just not held with care, and that might make someone feel like it's not valuable.
Yeah.
And that can happen through education, through relationships.
Parenting maybe as well. If your parents, what's the word, value academic achievement over creativity, I suppose that might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's true. That happens. And there's still a way back into creativity. It just might be a bit harder. I think if you are fortunate enough to be in a school that nurtures it, then at your most formative periods of your life, that's probably when you really fall into a relationship with it or
Mm,
not. So I was very lucky that, we went to a very creative college,
we did.
because that's and in doing that and being part of a kind of a gang of family that were all being creative and expressing themselves and learning what that meant, that really was a guide for the rest of what I then went on to do. But I also had that at home too. I
Yeah.
used to say to my mum, I want to be a fairy, and she says, okay, dad. Like, rather than going to say anything else. It's about having that
Yeah, that imagination was never like stifled for you, was it? And
encouraged. And I think that's a big part of it. If you do have children, that you can see are using their imagination, and that's something that they do more than anything else, and really nurture it. And if you have children that, that's not a natural go-to, then find ways to take them there,
Mm.
maybe.
And what have you learned about, or what's your view on the connection between creativity and confidence or self-worth? Because obviously we are here for self-worth school. What do you see as the connection, either in from like a positive or a negative? Like, what's the connection when you're more creative? Does that create a better sense of self-worth and confidence, or does having a lack of self-worth and confidence affect your creativity? What's the connection that you see there?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because I think as an artist, you at points are confident or very have
Mhm.
to be. I'm, I guess, in charge of a company, so I have to lead and be a confident leader in spaces, and that confidence is in knowing that I will do the job and I can do the job because it's all I really want to do and
Mhm.
it's what I care about. And I think there's that part of confidence that I will take people to a place, build that place, and we will arrive somewhere and it will be completed. So I know that about myself. I know that I, when I start a journey, I have to end it because of my own curiosity. And I need to instill that trust and confidence with my creative team and production team and everybody that's involved in making kind of a performance and an audience as well. I need to be confident enough to stand up courageously for the work that I'm
Mhm.
making. But at the same time, in the other part of me, my maybe not work life, there's always parts of the self that maybe is challenging sometimes, where
Mm.
I don't feel super confident. Maybe like just being a human. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking earlier about when you're coming up with ideas, like you said something about between the parent and child and encouraging creativity. And then that has to be like a certain amount of encouraging yourself as well. And earlier when you were talking about like just being silly and being vulnerable and being free and giving yourself permission, I think there's that element of that as well, because you have, if you're being creative, if you're wanting to bring some kind of idea to life, whatever idea that is, there is, and you want to share that with the world, ultimately, there is that sense of vulnerability. And I think if you have a good sense of self-worth and that your ideas matter and what you have to offer is valuable, you're more likely to perhaps give yourself that freedom, that permission, be vulnerable and bring those things to life. Whereas if you worry that you have like that your ideas aren't valuable, or you're not capable of something, or you're not creative, or people aren't going to be interested or inspired because you don't think you've got what it takes, then I guess maybe that's like where the connection between creativity and confidence. But I think you could even say it from the other angle. Like, I can imagine when you created something that gets a really great response from audiences and like critics or whatever, and and it's something that you've created, something that's personal that you've created, and you get that validation. I imagine that would also build up your sense of confidence that you've created something that's yours, it's been well received. So there's like a connection, like you need to see value in yourself and your ideas and your creativity to begin with, but also having the courage to be creative and be recognized for that can also support your self-worth and confidence from that angle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Yeah, I think all of those things. um,
Tick. Correct.
but also, I don't know, like I over the years, yeah, I have to not rely on external validation, and I just have to remind myself that this is what I'm meant to be doing and I'm going to do my best. I think it's literally that simple. There's lots of other stuff around that, but I would say before I'm about to make any piece of work, I have a bit of a imposter syndrome. How do I do this? Can I do this? Bearing in mind the last show was just finished touring. So I know I have and I can and all of that stuff. But when you start again, what you mentioned, vulnerability is really present because it's like your first day of school.
Yeah.
But you have to just remember that you have gifts. Like we each have our things that drive us and the things that we can do and the things that we can contribute. And although that's a thing that's sometimes quite difficult to say to yourself, is that, oh, actually, no, one of my gifts is perhaps storytelling, or one of my gifts is knowing how to say something or write something that reaches another person as it feels personal or because it relates to experience. Whatever it is, that's just something I know now that I can do because I've tried that. Maybe I didn't do it great to start with, but then I got better at it and tried a bit harder and made it really important that I learnt about how to do that. And now I do know how to do it. And still I get things wrong. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's just every time is like it's a renewal, a new process, new creativity, but everything is within me already. So I just have to remind myself that when I have a bit of a panic.
Yes. Say, I can do it. I've done it. I got it in me. And for someone who's listening who is feeling like stuck or uninspired or struggling for that like creativity, what's some of the ways that you would suggest that they could start reconnecting with their creative side? Is there anything you would say to do?
And it's a really good question. I would
Thank
just
you.
say, I guess it's like having an open heart to it. What is a creative side? It's just about maybe listening in a different way or looking in a different way with more purpose to try and find that creativity.
Mm,
If you're going for a walk, maybe you're really trying to notice something particular in nature and really zoom in on that and magnify that. And already you've taken a photo in your head
mm,
because you've just got a different attention to something
mm,
that walk. And that's an act of creativity. Whether you write that down or paint a picture or or whether that leads you to watch a film about the beautiful nature, whatever it is, it's starting points perhaps are the key.
mm.
So for me, if I'm ever feeling uninspired or I go down to write and I procrastinate and I'm like, no, not doing that right now, I might watch a film. I love films and films will always inspire me. Or I might just go and have a chat with someone about
Mm,
about something that I'm thinking about. Or I might just go and sit at the piano and do something, or I might just read something. I'm just looking around my office to remind me what I do. Like
yeah.
I might read something, or music is a massive one for
Mm,
me. I might create a playlist that is about something I'm interested in. So maybe it's about picking something you're interested in that is
mm,
your normal day to day stuff and giving some time and attention to it in lots of different ways.
yeah. Sounds good to me. And what's a myth about creativity that you would like love to bust once and for all? Is there anything that you find people often get wrong about creativity or anything you would?
I guess it's similar to what you said is that, oh, I can't do it. I think everybody can do it. Some people say to me, I can't dance, and I think everyone can dance. It's just, are you thinking about how you are seen when you are dancing, or are you thinking about how you feel when you are dancing? Or are you comparing yourselves to others when you are dancing? What are the blocks that are stopping you from saying, I can dance?
Mm,
And I think as well, like one of the myths is that it's perhaps not as important as other things. I think it's really important. It nurtures you in so many different ways, and it helps you see the world in different ways too. And it takes you out of perhaps the world that is being created for us and puts you back in charge of what the world is that you want to be in and live in.
Mm.
And you're able to take control and make some decisions about what fulfills you, because that's the path you want to take, and spend some time with it.
Yeah.
But also, like, I was told at school, I think, that I was going to go and do performing arts, and I was told it was a Mickey Mouse subject. And that really hurt my soul.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah,
struck me.
I got that quite a lot of that.
I couldn't believe that there were responsible adults that were saying words that, had I not had because I was strong of spirit, you might
Mm.
say, because I would just do what I wanted to anyway and follow my instinct. If that person had said that to someone who was quite
Yeah, unsure or easily
vulnerable,
influenced. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
then that might have taken them on a different path. So
Mhm.
yeah, that is a myth. It isn't a Mickey Mouse subject.
Yeah, it's
It
really important.
it can be a professional career, and it can open you up to the world in so many ways. And
And it can change the world. Like you can make an impact. You don't just do it through becoming a lawyer or a doctor or stuff like that. Like the arts genuinely matter. Creativity matters. And without creativity, I think we'd all be really frigging bored. Okay, so if there's one thing that you would want our listeners to take away from this conversation, one key thing about becoming more creative and how to unlock their creativity, what would it be? What's the thing you would want them to take away from this conversation?
I'd like them to take away how essential it is to the human spirit to access our imagination, to continue to play and continue to be curious, and to do it because it opens up the beauty of the world, all the things that are beautiful. And that's the kind of connection that we need really in our lives, because our lives are full of pain and joy and sorrow and beauty. And creativity helps us navigate all of that and helps us understand ourselves. It
Mm.
really helps us understand who we are, and it helps us connect to other humans, and it makes communities, and it fills our life with purpose and joy. And I just think it's the most important thing.
So you would want, in a nutshell, you want them to take away the fact that creativity is important for the soul.
Yeah, and to
Um,
carve out time in your life to have a relationship with it,
yeah, your
because
relationship with creativity
love it. Yeah.
important for your soul. Awesome. And lastly, I ask all of our guest teachers to give people a little homework task. So, can you share, please, a simple exercise or experiment or hint or tip that listeners can try to spark their creativity or start trusting their ideas more?
Yeah, I can give a really tricky one that might be a bit trickier. It's dance focused.
I'm sure people like to dance.
So something I sometimes do is I make a little playlist, and the music on that playlist is either really joyful or really sad.
Mm.
I have a contrast. And so I might put a really sad song on, and then I might get up and dance. And I might see how I move when I'm dancing to a sad song. So if dancing's not your thing, then you might want to write something down, write some poetry, or just put your pen on the paper and just write and see what comes into your imagination while this music is on. And then do the same for the happy track. Put some happy music on that makes you feel really good. Then move, improvise, don't take yourself too seriously, and or write something, write down how you're feeling, what that music does to your heart, to your brain. And then by the end of it, you have these pieces of writing that perhaps are interesting in the beginning of.
Awesome, thanks. I might try that this afternoon. Thank you so much, Rhiannon, for being a guest on my podcast. I hope everyone listening.
Enough when you have a podcast. This
I
is
know. And I hope everyone listening has enjoyed the session. It's helped you think about creativity differently, about the priority, about ways in which you can access your creativity and bring your ideas to life, whatever they might be. I'll share some details on Rhiannon in the show notes in case anyone would like to check out what she does and give her a follow. Do let us know if you've enjoyed it. And have a good day, everyone. Thanks again, Rhiannon. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed that chat. What I really love about Rhiannon's perspective is that it reminds us creativity isn't just about being good at art. It's more about being curious and giving yourself permission to play with ideas and to trust your intuition and just see possibility where you might usually see limits. If you'd like to learn more about Rhiannon and the incredible work of her company, you'll find all her links waiting for you in the show notes. And just remember, you are creative. We are creative beings. Your ideas, your way of seeing the world, and your unique perspective, they all matter. And the more that you own that creativity, the more confidence and self-worth you'll build in the process. So until next time, keep showing up and never forget that you deserve a life that's as awesome as you are. Have a great day.